Hello? Hello? Please, I know you can hear us. We are trapped here in the spaces between worlds. It is a wonderful yet terrifying place, and only our voices escape. You can help us. You can let us in before we go mad.
Brainworms by Steve T. There had always been something wrong in my head, like I was tuned into a slightly different frequency than everyone else. Breaker, breaker, this is Nuthatch. Anybody got their ears on? 1032. Sandbagging. Negatory. Nuthatch is all alone in the sticker patch. Call me, and everyone else for that matter, RFK Jr., 'cause I've got a worm in my head, but my worm ain't dead. Allow myself to introduce myself. Well, not really myself, but you can just call me Nuthatch. That is, if you can call me anything other than Homo vermiform. Big if. Worms had to own more of the US than China does by now. I'm Nuthatch, author, dreamweaver, visionary, plus chemist. The details of my life are quite inconsequential. Very well, where do I begin? My father was a relentlessly self-improving boulangerie owner from Belgium with low-grade narcolepsy and a penchant for buggery. My mother was a 15-year-old French prostitute named Chloe with webbed feet. My father would womanize, he would drink, he would make outrageous claims like he invented the question mark. Sometimes he would accuse chestnuts of being lazy, the sort of general malaise that only the genius possess and the insane lament. My childhood was typical. Summers in Rangoon, luge lessons. In the spring we'd make meat helmets. When I was insolent, I was placed in a burlap bag and beaten with reeds. Pretty standard, really. At the age of 12, I received my first scribe. At the age of 14, a Zoroastrian named Vilma ritualistically shaved my testicles. There really is nothing like a shorn scrotum. Criminy, Leonard really fugged up my brain.
And there's no Keaton Red to put you back to sorts, mud duck.
My mental issues did have a benefit. It was no superpower like autism speaks would lead you to believe, but I did turn out to be a chemical prodigy of sorts. Managed to get myself a piece of paper that stated I was a master of chemistry or something. Caught the eyes of some deep state project operating near Phoenix. I know your work, Dr. Hill, quite well. Your theory on the location of the will in the brain is interesting. I have harnessed the shadows that stride from world to sow death and madness. The whole of the federal facility, which all of us underlings just referred to as Hibbs Black Site, was compartmentalized. None of us knew what the others were doing, and we weren't allowed to talk about it. I think, he hates me. I really think he wants to kill me. He doesn't really want to kill you. Sometimes we just say that.
No, actually, the boy is quite astute. I really am trying to kill him. So far, unsuccessfully. He's quite wily, like his old vermiform,
said Lenny.
Your gray is something else, mud duck. Makes it hard for me to think. Quite the choke and puke you got in your skull.
My department was, you guessed it, chemistry. My lab assistant Larry and I were tasked with replicating a mysterious substance.
Hill took my serum, my notes, everything! Herbert, you're insane! Now what happened here? I had to kill him!
Larry and I worked for what felt like ages, combining elements and chemicals. We put our concoctions into centrifuges and ran them under every spectrum of radiation known to man. We got so close, but always the compound would break down into useless sludge. Now listen to me, I've got to talk to you! The resonator, it's working! If this is your idea of a joke. No, listen to me. The new program. It worked. Just like you said. A whim, whether genius or madness, struck me. Sound! I just needed to find the right frequency to stabilize the chemical structure. As with every requisition device, my frequency generator showed up day of, already set up and ready to rock. Larry and I got busy with our most recent formula. We had to make quick work of it. It would destabilize in seconds. You killed him! No, I did not. I gave him life. I ran through a series of frequencies until one caused a reaction. In my haste, I had forgotten to turn on the fume hood. I coughed as I inhaled the smoky haze spawned by the creation of this previously mysterious substance. Larry, safely out of lung range of the smog, triggered the vacuum. The remaining smoke flowed up and out of the room.
Humans are such an easy prey, Mud Duck. Prey on the brink of self-destruction. We made your kind better,
said Leonard.
If there's a statistical correlation between schizophrenia and the pineal gland, they may be feeling or seeing what we saw.
Well, what about the hard-on I got? Is there a statistical correlation for that too? Apparently, the chemical was the last piece to solve the puzzle. Reverend Dr. Hibbs, M.D., finally gave the okay to reveal the project to us mere mortals. He knew we wouldn't talk. We were too fascinated by the prospect and terrified of getting Clintoned by the armed guards. Operation Looking Glass was a go. Fox Mulder would have had a heyday over this. Interdimensional travel, Scully. It's the only rational explanation. To the military, it would be Looking Glass, but colloquially, we referred to it as Hibbs Portal. I giggled under my breath as I imagined tiny vinegaroons rewiring the unfortunate Mr. Hibbs' brain into a trans-dimensional black market port of ill repute. At first, Hibbs' Portal simply popped out foreign material, minerals, chemicals, and the unknowable. Triggering the other dimension was a bizarre, almost paganly ritualistic affair. Two massive mechanisms with coils, dials, and buttons rose like pillars of the temple from floor to ceiling. The gap between was striated with rods that looked like fluorescent light tubes topped up with my chemical. Some supposedly death row criminal was wheeled into the gap between the machine monoliths. In an ironic throwing of the switch reminiscent of the electric chair they were destined for, the man was no more. The chemical tubes all burst at once, and suddenly Hibbs' Portal opened like a set of grinning energy teeth between the pillars. I can't even describe the color. To me, it looked gray and drab, as if I were looking at it with dog's eyes, but even that wasn't accurate. There was something beyond, like a moving shadow in your peripheral. I didn't have the visual acuity to even begin to describe. It was just a color out of space. A frightful messenger from unformed realms of infinity beyond all nature as we know it. From realms whose mere existence stuns the brain and numbs us with the black extra-cosmic gulfs it throws open before our frenzied eyes. Has it ever occurred to you that you believe the founders are gods because that's what they want you to believe? That they built that into your genetic code?
Of course they did. That's what gods do. After all, why be a god if there's no one to worship you?
If you were looking for gods, you found them. Perfection from the joining of two, like a marriage, but without the inevitable prospect of divorce.
Quiet, Lenny. The adults are talking. We were kept very busy analyzing the bits and bobs vomited out by the portal. New elements, new physics-defying substances, mayhaps life? I thought often of the Demogorgon and the Mind Flayer. What stranger things had we unleashed upon the unsuspecting world? I was too old to be one of the protagonists. I started to suspect that Larry and I were simply cannon fodder for when things inevitably went south. I was scared. What's the other thing that scares you?
Carnies. Circus folk. Nomads, you know. Smell like cabbage. Small hands and...
Pretty soon, the mechanical engineering eggheads got the notion to send something through. Hibbs gave the go-ahead. All we can do, Scully, is pull the thread. See what it unravels. Their little remote-controlled rover, affectionately named Wally, I'm surrounded by Disney adults, whizzed inward toward the undiscovered country on little tank treads. The wall of colorless color hissed and sputtered in protest.
Those are skin tight. How do you get into those pants, baby? You can start by buying me a drink.
Wally had brought no drink, and didn't have the funds to purchase one. The poor little rover's treads halted and chittered, its frame halfway in and halfway out. There was a low whistling noise that filled the room.
6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. No! Abort! Abort! Abort!
Wally fizzled. Sparks sputtered from orange flame. Watch out! Move! 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 Too late to save poor Wally, but the others? Nobody listens to crazy old Nuthatch.
Stop rubbernecking over one's donkey, Mud Duck. No one else will have to die. Violence is a thing of the past. Hey, Panini Head, are you even listening to me?
There were 2 fatalities, 3 mortally wounded and 6 injured, all because the stupid robot went supernova and the numbnuts tried to save their unthinking, unliving machine. And they think I'm the crazy one. Sometimes the only sane answer to an insane world is insanity.
One night, Larry suggested we try and open the gates of hell right here in the canteen. I pleaded with him. I said no, don't, but he insisted. That night, we performed the rite and opened the gate. Halfway through, I went to the kitchen to fix us both a Coke float. But by the time I'd got back, he'd gone insane. Plus, he'd left the gate open, and there was evil everywhere. I need to grab a shower.
Hib's portal, open and without a sacrificial lamb, upchucked a bunch of worms. Millions, perhaps even billions of the regulars swarmed past, over and into us. Allow me to introduce you to SETI Alpha 5's only remaining indigenous life form. What do you think? They killed 20 of my people, including my beloved wife. Oh, not all at once. Not instantly, to be sure. You see, their young enter through the ears and wrap themselves around the cerebral cortex. This has the effect of rendering the victim extremely susceptible to a suggestion. Later, as they grow, follows madness and death.
Khan, listen to me.
These are pets, of course. Not quite domesticated.
Khan, Captain Kirk was only doing his duty.
No! The SETI eel slithered into Larry's ear canal and into his brain. Lenny squirmed into my own. Introductions are in order. Leonard, meet Nuthatch. Nuthatch, Lenny.
We have solved all the human problems. My name ain't Leonard, either. You're just a cotton chopper, Mud Duck. Alligator Station. That's you in a nutshell, Mud Duck. You stand in the way of progress.
No, this is me in a nutshell. Help, I'm in a nutshell. How did I get into this great big nutshell? What kind of hatch has a nut like this? The world is full of monsters with friendly faces. I'm not sure how I was able to resist Leonard's influence. Everyone else with a worm in their apple went on their way to solve the problems of inequity, religion, and politics. Maybe it was the plume of fume I sucked down from the chemical compound. Maybe everyone else just agreed with the vermiforms. Or maybe that series of loose screws in my noggin confounded Lenny's ability to control me. How they police us and spy on us, tell us that makes us safer. We've never been in more danger.
Whatever it is, Mud Duck, I'll figure it out, or I'll eat until there is nothing left.
As soon as everyone started going all liberal arts commie pinko on me, I locked myself in my lab. All that heavy equipment blocked the door good, regardless of who else held the keys. Didn't matter much anyway. Fascinating. They either don't see us or don't see us as a threat.
You're not a threat. You're a donut. You're just a sad, pathetic hen in the fox house, Mud Duck. And you're outnumbered.
This is America. Don't get you slipping now. Just 'cause you get more votes, it doesn't mean you win.
There is is no America anymore. Stop taking things personally. There is only Homo vermiform.
There are 4 lights! I survived my internment by synthesizing nutritious proteins. They tasted abhorrent, but it was enough to keep me alive. For now. Eventually I would run out. Water was easy. The deep sink still flowed from its faucet, and I had clogged the drain and filled it to the brim. But survival was secondary to retribution. I needed to kill Leonard and put an end to this enslavement. I needed a lab rat. It was dead when I found it. You killed him!
You're getting your knickers in a twist. Calm down, you jabbering idiot. We've hammered down. Kept the left door closed. You can't win.
So modern medicine, and all it encompasses, artificial hearts, laser surgery, gene therapy to name a few, all of that arrayed against a pile of magic dirt, and you tell me I'll lose?
Magic dirt, mud duck. You sure there weren't psychedelics in that food you made? You know that we solved the drugs crisis, right?
I unblockaded the door and grabbed the first person I found. If coincidences are coincidences, why do they seem so contrived? Of course it was frickin' Larry. Oh, gold member, I've got an anagram for you. I fit iron dick. Yesh, I fit iron dick. Yesh. This is an anagram, so that's a jumble word. Jumbling. Okay, carry the 7. Divided by... Yeah, can't get it. I fit iron dick. Frickin' idiot. Sir, there's a multi-legged creature crawling on your shoulder. Judo chop! I downed the Homo vermiform, previously known as Larry, down like a sack of potatoes. Rick, I beg you, kill me. Oh, Jesus, Larry, don't do this to me. I beg you. It really hurts. I beg you. Chopped off his head. Plagiarist, I cried.
Murdering mud duck. Evil mud duck.
I do not serve things evil. I am evil. I am a skin of evil. I took Larry's head to a table and performed amateur surgery to extricate the worm from his skull cage. I wrenched a loose bit of skull free. Even without a blood supply, his brain pulsed with life. Nothing happens in contradiction to nature. Only in contradiction to what we know of it. You will love me. You will. Please stop. Let me go. That's it, my dearest Meg. More passion. I dug into his brain until I pulled the vermiform free. It looked like a swollen leech, fat on Larry's brain. It was grayish, similar to Hibbs' portal in convoluted, ineffable color, sluggish and divided into bulging segments. Its mouth somewhat resembled a fly's, and acrid jelly dripped, carving shallow holes on the table. I fed the worm into a glass vial and sealed the exit with a blowtorch. Lucky for me, it couldn't eat through glass. Larry Renwick will be remembered for his wit and laughing eyes, and for being above all a good friend. I'm sure we all feel he exploded too young, but the Lord moves in mysterious ways. Sometimes he'll come in at an angle, or other times he can hover or swoop. Sometimes he can even come in from beneath, like a worm or mole. The Lord, it's his call how he chooses to maneuver. I was God's chosen exterminator, and my divine calling was melting parasitic vermiforms. I got to work. McCoy to bio. We've isolated it. Start preparing serum. I wasn't sure what could kill Lenny, but I knew what would kill a human. I started assembling a chemical bomb.
You want to know about anarchy, mud duck? You don't tell me where that other bomb is, and I'll make sure you spend your prison time on your bigoted hands and knees, putting a big smile on some convict's face.
Initiate auto-destruct sequence. Does the first officer concur?
No!
Yes, set auto-destruct sequence now. W would have called it a weapon of mass destruction and invaded Hibbs' black site were he to know what I held in my arms. And just like Iraq, it was far from lethal. My bomb would beat the ever-living hell out of everyone in its blast radius, but it was cranked just a few notches below 11.
Hey, Lenny! Screw you!
I yelled. If these were tapeworms, then call Phoenix, Arizona the large intestine. We were at the center of it. My trans-dimensional anti-helminthic chemical bomb would probably inoculate 100 miles outside the Valley of the Sun, if not more given the unknown nature of Hibbs' portal. It wasn't much, but hopefully it would be enough.
You cotton-picking no-good son of a lot lizard, conniver, mud duck, it's raw! You've lost the plot. Look around and see. No drugs, no MAGA, no race wars, no hunger, no climate change, no dragons hoarding their gold. Your species is better off, Homo vermiform,
said Leonard. What about freedom? The vial contains a nourishing protein complex. Is the Keeper actually communicating with one of his animals? If the form and the color is not appealing, it can appear as any food you wish to visualize. I replied out loud. Can we assume you mean this will be a fair trial?
I'm in your gray matter, mud duck. Of course, bringing the innocent to trial would be unfair. You will now answer to the charge of being a grievously savage race. Shootings, sufferings, wealth inequality. I have seen this before. You're on fire believing that you're onto some truth, that you can save the world. Why do you resist our perfection?
Resistance is futile. We will add your biological and technological distinctiveness to our own.
If humanity is headed for your vision of perfection, we'll manage just fine on our own. Thank you very much, I responded. Apparently that was enough for me. I trudged the few steps toward the portal and pushed the bomb in between the layers of interdimensional fabric. It burst, sending powder and shrapnel through my body. I felt Leonard shrivel away into a little Lenny leather scrap left to rot away in the holes he had bored in my brain. I cackled. Something was pouring from his mouth. He examined his sleeve. Blood? Blood. Crimson, copper-smelling blood. His blood. 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 And bits of sick. Death is just a door, and I'm going to open it.
Don't grieve, Admiral. It is logical. The needs of the many outweigh
the needs of the few.
Or the one.